Hi, folks. Welcome to Just Folks Conversations with Emma. I'm Emma, and today I have, oh my goodness, the best guest I've ever had, ever. I want to introduce you to my one and only sibling on the planet, Sheila. This is Sheila Sembly-Crum, and I'm so excited. You would think I didn't know her, but actually I've known her entire life, which is the thing that makes it so special. So hi, Sheila.
I am. Can I call you M instead of Emma?
I guess we could do that.
Yeah. Is that acceptable? Okay. That's how I call you M. So, okay. And I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing great. I love your setting. I love where you're sitting.
Oh, well, thank you. I wanted to be outside today because, as you know, as a child, I was a nature child as a little girl. So I'm in my element, still being out with a little bit of nature, not out in the boonies somewhere, but still just to hear some birds and to see the grass grow and see some sunlight, natural sunlight in the spring, and then the trees are blooming and blossoming. This is what I enjoy the most, as you know. So here I am with nature.
Yeah, I do know. And I remember Mommy used to say, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do with Sheila when the weather is bad, because this child has to go outside at least once a day. And she would let you, while I was in school, obviously I'm the big sister, she would make sure that you had a chance to go out and get some fresh air.
Exactly.
Had to get your fresh air every single day.
Every day. I still feel the same way now. So it's important to me. So
yeah.
So
you just had a birthday recently.
Yes,
in April. This is April as we're recording this.
That's true.
And
18th,
I wrote a tribute basically to you. And I want to share that with everyone because it really kind of sets up, the relationship that we have now.
Yes.
And so it goes. I was not quite 5 years old when I met my brand new baby sister. It was a beautiful, bright, breezy, and pastel-colored spring day. I didn't need a sweater, and my grandmother had dressed me in my favorite outfit to go see my mother and meet this new baby that everybody was so excited about. Now, my priority was to see Mommy again, since back in those days, women often stayed into the hospital for a week or more after giving birth. This also meant that I would, at long last, get the brother I had requested, since my parents had granted my every wish up to that point. I recall thinking that I was going to have a wonderful time with Frank. All we needed was a boy, and our family would be perfect. I was so excited to see my mother that when we arrived at her room, all thoughts of the new baby disappeared. I launched myself into her arms with such force, my father gasped, thinking I would injure her. I simply could not restrain my joy. Eventually, someone unlatched me by saying, "Wouldn't you like to see your new sister?" Sister? No, actually, I want to see my new brother, the one we agreed to. But no worries, send her back. Well, as you may have discerned by now, my parents did not return Sheila to the baby store in exchange for a brother. And I am grateful and glad that she agreed to be my sister. I celebrate her birth this day, which was April 18th, and every day. And I ended it with a happy birthday blessing to you. And this, folks.
That's perfect. Oh, there I am. There we are, Em. Oh my goodness. Yes. Oh my goodness, yes.
There's that little girl that I was so disappointed in.
Well, surprise.
I was looking for a brother.
Here I was. Here I arrived. So it's interesting how number one, I appreciate that tribute. That was so lovely and just so meaningful to me for so many ways. And you shared that with so many of our friends. That was so kind and generous. And I think it gave people a clear understanding of how close we really are. We're very close sisters. You're always looking after me, and in my way, I was kind of looking after you, even though I was a brat about it at times. I was still looking after you. My big sister Ema, I think I called you Ema back then.
You did.
But I mean, as I was able, when I started to talk, I called you Ema. But it's nothing like having a big sister such as you, because I mean, yes, I enjoyed going outside and playing every day. That was fun and everything. I had to get my air and get my exercise and my air, because I just love being out. But I look forward every day, especially at the end of the day when I knew it was time for you to come home after school. The time couldn't come fast enough for me. I couldn't wait to see my big sister, Emma. I just had to see you. And it's just like, you had so much, I felt as a child, just so much of your world to share with me. And I was so proud to hear all the stories and things that were happening, and the friends that you had and the friends that I had, and how we were always looking after each other no matter what. And that's the beauty of having a wonderful big sister. And there's a bond that, as you know, no one has or ever will break. And there's no reason for it,
Right.
because we're just that close. We look after each other. And I'm so grateful to have a wonderful big sister. And I always felt I had to protect you, as you know.
I know. I do know.
Especially, yeah, when you got in a little bit of trouble and it was quote unquote punishment time.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I have to rescue my sister. And I'd tell mommy, please, Emma didn't mean it. Please, she won't do it again. I just had to take care of you because
And
you're
you were
my
the
big sister.
teeniest. Yes, you were the teeniest little person. And I've got almost 5 years over you.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at this little baby who's just kind of babbling and, pleading my case.
That's
And I
right.
didn't know whether or not to be happy or agitated, because I was the big sister. You were a terrific audience.
Yeah.
And I agreed, I had all these stories to tell you about school and what life was like, and what Miss So-and-so said in class, and what this child did, and what the other friend did, and who,
Teacher.
had an issue or not. And it was, I knew it was a new world for you.
Oh, yes.
And so, when you defended me, I was like, wait a minute, you're not supposed to do that. I'm the big sister. But often mommy did listen to you, because she was pretty no nonsense.
Yes.
And Pops, on the other hand, we could, kind of look at him with our big eyes, and
I know.
he certainly was not the disciplinarian. Mom,
That's true. I had
I
to
couldn't.
come in and save the day. I couldn't stand to have my big sister upset. So, and I know sometimes you did things you probably shouldn't have done, but I just wanted to let you know that your little sister was looking after you, and I just didn't want anybody or anything to get in the way. So it started as a young age. That's just how I always felt about my big sister Emma, to this very day. Still,
I know. We have been known as the Assembly Sisters, the girls. Really, we were the girls.
That's right.
For decades
Yes.
and decades. Even
True.
when we had our girls, because you have a girl, I have a girl. Each of us has a girl.
Yes.
And interestingly, each of our girls has twins.
I know.
So we have 2 sets of twins.
Fraternal twins. That's true.
Yeah.
And they're fraternal twins.
Yep. Your twins, 2 little girls, are just gorgeous. And my twins are a girl and a boy. And of course, they're gorgeous.
They're gorgeous too. Oh, they're so sweet. They're just so sweet. They're just little sweet people. So, and that's just how I see the world, and children and people and the good in them. And even when they're not acting good, I still see the good. I don't mean children. I just mean people in general. I see the good in everybody. So.
Yep, you do that. And you've done that all of your life, which was the thing really that puzzled me, because I've often said, if we had switched roles and you were the big sister and I was the little sister, and you had behaved the way I did, we probably wouldn't be speaking now. I'd mail you a postcard, I just think you're very forgiving. You do really see the good in everyone. And that's reflected in all the relationships that I see that you have with people, and that you've had over the years, because I do know there are folks that I wouldn't say rescued, but you give them the space to be their best self. And because of that, they're demonstrating behaviors and attitudes and exploring ideas and areas they probably wouldn't have considered, because other folks lock them into boxes. They don't perceive they're good, but you do. What do you attribute that to?
Well, I think it's just because I guess number one, it's just in me. It's just something that is me. That is Sheila. I
Mhm.
see the good in people. And also I feel that the nurturing childhood we had, the beautiful magical family we had, and even though mom and pops were totally different in terms of discipline, I mean, they were disciplinarians in their own way, and mommy definitely being more strict and pops gave us a little bit more leeway. To me, it was a balance. I could take the best from the both of them. And
Mhm.
I feel I incorporated that in me,
Excuse me.
or utilized that for me, because I mean, I can't help it. I just see good. I can't even explain it. I just enjoy meeting people where they are, and trying to understand where they are in their life, because just because somebody may lash out or not be very nice, or be, either just kind of mean spirited. Not saying they're mean people, but they have the spirit of kind of being mean spirited. They have that characteristic of being a mean kind of person. And there are many reasons why there's people, I guess, react in that way. So I still say, no matter what, that person was born, and we're all born, I feel, we're spiritual beings as children, as babies.
Mhm.
And because we all start, I would say, with a quote unquote clean slate, that's how I look at people. That's how I look at people. I like to see them as from a clean slate. Um, just, we're all good. I, I can't help it. And I like to be able to help or guide people who may feel they are lost, or, and that's only if they're willing. I don't force my views on anyone. I don't try to make them something that they're not, but hopefully I can help them recognize who they are, the good in them. Because sometimes, depending on your circumstances, you may not feel that way.
Mhm.
You may feel I'm a, a failure, or I'm this, or I'm that, seeing themselves in a negative way, not seeing the good in themselves, or not actually being able to acknowledge it. Sometimes you don't acknowledge it. It's there, but they don't know it's there. And I like for people to know this is part of you too. It's not something that's on a foreign land or foreign language. It's there. It's internal. It's something that you need to feel and to acknowledge. So that's what I enjoy doing, helping people find that place of gratitude, of good, of kindness, and mindfulness, and just just being themselves, like being who they are, being in the present, and not trying to judge themselves. Just don't judge yourself. Just be yourself, and it's okay. And then even if you have a moment or two where you're not feeling so great, you may not be in a happy way. That's okay, and just acknowledge it and realize that even within that moment of whatever that challenging moment that you're dealing with, they're still good. They're still good there because there's a lesson that you're going to learn from this experience, even if it's not always a pleasant one. So that's what I like to do. I like to kind of guide people to let them know that in spite of how it may feel, in spite of how it may look, there's something good for you in this. There's something that you're going to learn from this. And I speak that from myself, because you know what I had gone through a few years ago, with I had a health challenge, and
And
it
you want to
was,
talk about that a little bit? Just,
sure,
general terms, yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, because that was a real turning point for me. Um, as you know, I was, my former career was in corporate America.
Mhm.
And even though I was in a place where it was, I was helping people, I was a director of a, of an organization that served all of North America. And it was all about solving problems for customers. Helping my team would help others solve problems. Helping that customer on the other end of the phone was mostly electronic
Okay, but that would seem
communications.
like a good fit for you because you do like helping people.
I do, and I liked it at that point, but it was at a different level, and I still appreciate the fact that I could still reach out to people, even though it was through the telephone sometimes, or through electronic means of communication. It was always there to provide a solution, to guide the person to a better place, to help them. And then further, well, as you know, a few years ago, well, many years ago, I guess now that I think about it, my job changed. the company had a reorganization. So I was let go. And as I was let go from my job, I sustained a really bad back injury to the point where, as you know, thank goodness for you, you helped me through this, because it was chronic pain that just overtook me 24/7. It was so bad that if a piece of paper fell on the floor, as you know, I could not reach over to pick it up. Because if I was on the floor to reach over to pick a piece of paper on the floor, there I would go down on the floor, and that's where I would be for, and a long period of time before I can get up, because the pain was just so encompassing. It just
Excruciating.
excruciating. Thank you. That's what it was.
Yeah.
So I said, why is this happening? I said, I'm not feeling great. At that time, my husband, who we had a bi-coastal marriage, was on the other West Coast, and I was here on the East Coast. And thank goodness you took care of me, because I was unable to do anything for myself. As you know, I couldn't cook. I couldn't fix myself a meal. I was unable to do anything. And, walking was just like, I don't think so, because I couldn't stand up straight. I was bent over at a 90-degree angle.
And you used a walker.
Used a
when
walker.
You could walk. Yes.
Could walk. I went to physical therapy, and that didn't quite work for me. And they told me not to come back. And it was just, I said, well, gee, what am I going to do now? So it just made me, what happened was, I kept asking, I said, I know I'm being taught a lesson, but what is it? I said, throughout all this pain, there's got to be something here that I need to understand. So I got out of my way, because I like to feel like I can always do things. I'm going to just push my way through this. I'm going to just fix things. I was sat down by the divine spirit, and I was told, that still small voice told me, Sheila, you need to settle down. You need to let yourself heal. You need to, number one, I needed to acknowledge the pain, which I acknowledged the pain, but I kept fighting it, because I was going to fight. So stop fighting the pain, acknowledge it, let yourself heal. And in doing so, the only way I was able to do that was when you took me to a practitioner who helped me move my way out of pain, move my way so I could get my quality of life better. And as I was going through the sessions, and there was quite a few sessions, she worked with me to help me find a place where I could move with ease and move my way, so I was able to stand up without having to stretch and strain and just brace myself. I was able to move more freely, naturally. And as I was going through that, I decided to become a practitioner, so that I could train to be a practitioner, so that I could help people on the same level as my practitioner helped me, because I felt, no, go ahead.
Excuse me. And you say practitioner, but what's a practitioner? What kind of?
The practitioner that I am is a Feldenkrais practitioner, where it's involving somatic movement. And what that does, we help people move their way out of pain. We move you through it, we guide you through it, and we just give you a place of support, so that you're not struggling, and you're not fighting, and you're not trying to make things happen. You're just acknowledging the differences in how you move, and what can you do to make a movement more fluid. You don't have to stretch, you don't have to lengthen. There's just something as simple as, maybe taking your hand here, for example, and maybe taking your hands and just twisting your wrist slightly. I mean, as a practitioner, I would do this for a client. So if whatever that person's condition is, I'm just using this as an example. The movement I utilize, and this is what I realized, this is what I'm meant to do. This is how I'm going to help people. Because by providing people options and avenues to let them know your world doesn't have to get smaller. Your world's going to get bigger. You're going to have more options. You're going to get your health back again. Because as a Feldenkrais practitioner, that's what I help people do. Define themselves, help them, guide them through that pain, that painful journey. Sometimes it's more painful than others, but it's a wellness journey that I'm with them every step of the way. So it's not as if I'm looking at someone and saying, I see they have this condition. I'm going to do touchy here and lift that and kind of do some general movements. It's about connecting with that person at their level. being engaged with that person in their level, in their journey, to move their way out of the pain mode and to give them the freedom that they need, and give them the support they need to let them know the fear factor, which many times can prevent someone from healing. I
Yes,
help
because you can
remove.
be so afraid of the of that pattern of pain
Yes,
that you are locked into.
you're locked in.
Mhm.
And I speak again for myself. I was locked in there. I was locked in that pattern because I always, if I move, I might, if I do this, oh, it might hurt. Or if I do that, oh, this might make it work or worse. It was just all these things, barriers I had built up to protect myself.
Mhm.
So it was an emotional barrier. It was a physical barrier.
Mhm.
And it was a nervous system barrier, because this particular methodology helps restore the nervous system, which keeps it calm, which stops the chatter, the mind chatter, the nerve chatter, and it gives your nervous system some places to move. So it's not locked into that loop of pain. So
Well,
that's what
it almost sounds meditative, like you're using.
it can be for some people. It depends on what else. Here's their challenge is. You know, some people have just maybe just a minor sprain, but for those who have really chronic nerve pain, it takes you to a different place. Because number one, it gives you a place where you feel secure. You are able to absolutely release and let someone help you. And that's something that's not always easy for people to do, because if you're a person that's used to controlling this, and because that's what I do, and I'm into physical fitness, or I'm in Pilates, or I'm into this, I'm into that, and you're so busy trying to make it on your own, it's sometimes not easy for someone to really let themselves be totally rested. Now, I don't mean relax. I mean just rested, letting their body, just being aware of what their body is their self is doing. So you may not realize you've got tension in your shoulders because you're used to holding on to like this. But once you're on a table, and maybe I might just touch your, just gently just touch your shoulder, and then all of a sudden you may feel your shoulder and maybe get a little bit closer to the table. That happens, but you don't know that because you're so used to being in this, frozen position that you don't know how to let go, because you are concerned it may cause more pain. But by me being there and supporting you in that movement, and just putting a place of just suggestion of movement will reassure you, oh, I can let go and I'm not hurting. I can do this.
And also because I have experienced the Feldenkrais method, thanks to you. And so I won't say it's mindless, but you have to trust that your nervous system and your brain are working in concert with
Correct.
each other. And you can signal it. You can
Yes.
signal your nervous system about what to do and what to accept, and establish new neural pathways so
Yes.
that you still end up having, your end goal is to be more mobile and pain-free.
Correct.
With this method. You're, because you're so in tune to, which is why I say it's meditative, you really have to get your ego and everything else out of the way in order to be able to pick up on the signal that your client, your person is sending.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You can't, you have to feel, in some people's cases, they feel like, I'm not going to be in control of this. Well, you don't have to control this, because your nervous system is really controlling this. You have to trust your nervous system. So people don't always understand that initially. They're just thinking, well, I just want to move, or I just want to stretch. And I know, again, I'm speaking from personal experience. I wanted to lengthen, I wanted to stretch, I wanted to, just make myself do what I want to do. You can, but you're not ready for that yet. When you're in a chronic pain situation, you need to trust yourself, trust your nervous system, and knowing that even though the journey may take long, because I think people have at least in this society, we're so used to clicking a couple of buttons and clicking the mouse and taking some medications. Not to say we don't need the medications, but it's that instant, I want to be fixed and I want it done now. So when you have someone you're working with that has the mindset of, well, I want it now, and I have to have it now because my whole life has changed, I need to let them know this is something that's gradual. You need to trust the process, but you need to trust yourself. And sometimes people don't know they can trust themselves, because they just don't, because they've been in a place of pain. If I trust myself, I'm going to feel more. I'm not going to feel relief. I'm going to feel more pain. But you don't. because you're giving your nervous system a chance to be still. So, and that can be a little unnerving. Some people just may not understand. They say, well, if I'm letting my nervous system control me, then I don't have control, but it runs us anyway. You just acknowledge it. That's all you have to do. You don't have to do anything differently. Just let it be and just notice it. Notice what you're feeling. Notice if you're feeling. See, I don't want people to feel focused on the pain. I want them to focus on what is it that's feeling good for you right now. You need to focus on what is feeling good, even if you're not feeling so great.
And
if it's something,
that's a real shift, because if you're in the mindset of chronic pain, it's hard not to focus on the pain.
Right.
So you're able to get them to shift their attention from the pain, because it's clear. And this is new thought. What you think about, you bring about.
You sure do. That's correct.
The more you think about it, it's like telling somebody, don't think about a bear. And then, of course, that's what they think about, the bear.
That's correct.
But so you're not telling them not to think about anything. You're redirecting.
Exactly. I'm redirecting them. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And by doing that, for them to just acknowledge the slightest bit of change, slightest bit of what I would call improvement. Notice it and remember it. And just remember it. And then you kind of build from that place of, oh, you know, my shoulder was really hurting me the other day and I couldn't, even though my whole back was hurting me. Say, for example, someone's entire, or let's just say their lower back is bothering them, the lower lumbar. But they have it for whatever reason, they're just still up here. Let's just key it up like this. But just by working with that person, not necessarily on their back, I might touch their neck. You know, I can touch their scapula, their shoulder, the back of their shoulder, or the shoulder blade. And before they know it, they may feel maybe there's just a little lessening of this, which it just impacts your whole nervous system. It goes right down to that lower lumbar, down your spine. And just by getting them to just kind of releasing this, and then all of a sudden, oh yeah, I just noticed it's a little bit different. I'm not quite so tense up here. Now I do have more movement, because when you have more movement up here, you're going to have more movement down to your. It just travels. It simply transfers that movement. It's giving your nervous system the signal. It's okay to move with ease, and it doesn't take a lot of touching or it is no manipulation in this. It's just simply putting the suggestion of movement with that person. And I can move a person sometimes.
Okay, but that's really the difference between physical therapy, which is very physical, because that's why I call physical therapy, and Feldenkrais, which is what I'm thinking of as really retraining your nervous system.
You're retraining your nervous system. Again, is to restore it to be in a place of, like I said, restoration and relaxation. And that's the key to anybody's chronic pain, especially when you're dealing with nerve pain. And nerve pain is really very complicated, and it can be difficult for some people more than others. But it, like you said, Emma, a lot of this depends on the mindset. And part of my goal and my quote unquote job is to
move back so you won't.
Oh, sure. Sorry. Part of my job is to reassure that person that let them know it's not just something that's physical effort here. It is involving your frame of mind. And like you said, you're going to get back what you put out. And if you keep focusing on pain, I've had to be very direct with some people. If that's what you keep seeing out there, you're so focused on the pain, that's what you're going to keep feeling, because that's all you see. But you need to acknowledge any kind of small change, whatever that change is. Just notice if the top of your head is not hurting and it was hurting earlier, but maybe there's something that's, maybe your chin is hurting, but you notice, oh, I don't feel this in my top of my head. Notice that. It's an improvement. It's relief, because you're letting your nervous system work in the way it's meant to work. So you don't keep looping yourself back into that pain mode, that pain method, because some people have a hard time breaking out of it. They're stuck in it. So I have to guide them, not just in the physical sense, but also have to reassure them by just simply speaking with them. And in some cases, some people may even need, and I work with people that have more than, who work with me, and also maybe a physical therapist, or if they may have a psychotherapist as well. So sometimes they need that. So I'm working as a team. So I'm never saying, well, my way is it, this is it. You know, you can't work with any other practitioner or any other medical expert. I would never say that. I work in conjunction with whatever team they have or lack of team. I work with them. So we're all on the same page. We're all supporting each other. So nothing is being contradictory. It's all about helping that person along their wellness journey. So I have
But
to be
what
in
you
tune with
do
everything.
is not considered medical.
It's not medical. It is not
Okay.
medical, but I work with a medical team.
Okay.
I keep them advised in terms of what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, and I just make, you know, I make notations, and I can, you know, speak with them on a weekly basis if necessary, or bi-weekly basis, whatever the decision is, whatever we decide to do, I circle back with them, or maybe once a month if I need to. It just depends on that person. But I keep them in the loop so they know what's going on. And again, we're all on the same page, but I make no suggestions in terms of, you know, prescriptions or supplements. I stay away from that. That's not what I do. You know, I don't do that. It's up to that person to talk to their doctor, primary care physician, to determine that. So, but I just work with the nervous system, and that's what I do. Give them peace of mind.
Well, how have you been impacted by this pandemic that we've been dealing with?
Well, it knocked everything came to a stop. It really did. It was tough because I had some really, I don't want to make them look like clients, but some good people who were relying on me to help them with their anxiety and stress, and which also, by the way, anxiety and stress are triggers for pain as well. If I didn't mention that before, and people don't sometimes understand that, but stress and anxiety can really cause you to go back into that pain loop. So I had, everything was shut down, the wellness center shut down. And the only thing I was able to do was to what I did was I had a few people that I worked with over Zoom. So, and I still gave the sessions. What I did, I guided them through this session, a session I would normally guide a client with. Instead of me having hands-on, that person on the other side of the Zoom call, I would give them the same information that I would normally do for that person. So it was different, but it was still intimate at the same time. I know it sounds a little odd because it was a new way of communicating for people. It was a new way for me to engage with them. But because I was still working with that person one-on-one, it wasn't like I was working in a classroom of 4 or 5 people. It was still that one-on-one engagement where I just would ask the person to just be in that moment. I mean, they would have to find a comfortable chair. It's what I call functional integration sessions. That's what I do when I'm working with the person's nervous system, a one-on-one, when I'm physically moving them, supporting them to move their way out of pain. They would do that sitting in a chair, such as what I'm sitting in right now. And I can't think of something. I'm trying to think of a specific case where just something simple. So if someone, I mean, I can kind of give you like a little demonstration if you like,
Oh,
of how I
sure.
would guide
Yes.
someone. So
Just sit back
if
so you stay
I
in the
know,
light.
can you see me now? Oh, is that a little bit
Yes,
better?
that's
Okay.
fine.
So what I would do is I would tell someone to please, I would want them to sit in a nice comfortable chair, have their feet planted on the floor, maybe having a chair or a couch that would support their lower back, well, really their back, really, entire back, and just have them simply close their eyes and just have their hands, place their hands on their lap. And as they're sitting in that chair, I would ask them to just simply focus on their breathing, just to be aware of their breathing as they inhale and exhale. And just notice, what is it doing? How does your breathing feel? Does it feel as if it's smooth and easy? Very easy movement? And is it maybe a shallow breath? Just notice, no corrections, nothing to change. Just notice how you're breathing and having your eyes closed. And just notice it and just breathe in and just breathe out normal, like you normally do. I'm not asking you to hold it for any reason. Just notice it. And as you're breathing, see if you notice if anything else might be moving along as you breathe in and breathe out. And as you inhale and exhale, what is moving along with you? What do you notice is moving? Do you notice if your chest may be raising, lifting and lowering as you inhale and exhale? And also notice, maybe, do you feel anything expanding or contracting, like perhaps your ribs as you inhale and exhale? What's expanding? And also notice your abdomen or your belly. Not holding it in, not pushing it out. Just notice, what is the movement as you inhale and exhale? You just notice that. That's all you're doing. The only thing you're doing is just being aware of what you're doing. And as you inhale and exhale, just notice the chair or your sofa that's supporting your back. Do you feel that there's more support or more touching, more contact of your back against the chair or the couch as you inhale and exhale? And just notice if you feel a difference, if there's any difference. And if there isn't, that's okay. But just be aware of it. Just notice it. And now I'm going to ask you just to slowly open your eyes. Just come back. And just notice what you're feeling now. Does anything feel different? Or do you feel perhaps a little bit more open? Do you feel like there's more openness or not? And it's, if you don't feel any difference, that's okay. But this is what I can do. This is how I'm this is the beginning of guiding someone in a functional integration over Zoom. So I can still be engaged with that person one-on-one, but that was just a very tiny taste of what I would normally do with someone who is experiencing a lot of tension or anxiety, nervousness, and just discomfort. But it just puts a person in a place where they're focusing, and it's all about themselves. It's not about the dog, the cat barking, or the cat barking, the dog barking, or, oh, I've got to get this at the store. I forgot to do this. I forgot to do that. Oh, it's all about yourself, and it's being engaged in yourself. And it's not about being, well, if I take this time, I'm being selfish. I don't think I should focus on me. Well, why not? If you can't be your very best at all times, when are you? Why would you take this precious life we have and push it aside to say my life isn't as important as someone else's? We're all important, and it starts with self. So
that's interesting. But some people would argue that makes you selfish if you start with yourself. What do you say about that?
It's not selfish. You need to take care of you. I mean, this is who you have. You have yourself. I feel, for me, it's being selfish not to cherish what you have, not to cherish your value. And I don't mean in terms of monetary value. Every single one of us, we're important. And it's not as if we're, sometimes I think that people think, well, I'm just a a tiny cog in that wheel of life. Well, all these quote unquote tiny cogs are very important, no matter how slight you may think you are, or how unimportant you might think you are. There's an impact. There's always a, I wouldn't say consequence, but we're all important, and do not minimize your importance in life. Do not minimize it, because we're all important. Everything we do is important. You know, how we take care of ourselves, how we take care of myself, so I can help taking care of others. As you know, that's what I love doing. I get such gratitude from being able to help someone who is in a place where their world was really small and full of pain and fear and hopelessness. And engaging in that person, letting them know you are important. They have to feel it. I can't just tell them that. It's something that they have to feel. And that's what I do. I don't tell them, oh, you feel this way. You're supposed to feel that way. You feel as you feel. I just work at bringing your feelings out, your worth out, the goodness in you. That's what I do. And it's not being selfish when you're thinking about yourself. That we're all important, and we have to acknowledge it and feel proud and be grateful that we're here on this earth, knowing that, and I guess I'm being redundant, but we all are here to serve. We're here to serve. We're here to take care of each other. And I don't care how tiny, how small it might seem, but it's important. To all these little tiny pieces of what we think we are, when it's all together, these little tiny pieces that are working together, it's such a beautiful place. It's such a place of, I don't want to make it sound like it's utopia, but
it could be.
Well, I guess it could be. You're right. It could be. It could be. But the only thing I can say is that I just like for people to recognize how important they really are, how we all are. And by being able to be your best, and that's not mean, well, I've got to be the best and better than somebody else. I'm better than her, I'm better than him. Just be yourself, being you, just being the best of being. That's what's most important, I feel. And that means, yes, focusing on yourself. Yes, paying attention to yourself. Recognizing your feelings, recognizing that I deserve to feel good. We all deserve to feel good. We need to feel good. Why shouldn't we feel good?
Well, you know, that may take quite a bit of courage, because when you look at what society tells us about who we are supposed to be,
yes,
and if you look at those community or those societal standards, that's not necessarily reflective of who we are as actual people. And I think folks struggle with that because you see the Madison Avenue commercialized version of what makes a quote successful, happy person, and especially with something now like Facebook, where people have many, many opportunities to compare themselves with other folks.
Yes.
That really, to me, interferes with your ability to find yourself if you're on that kind of a journey.
That's true. It's being I call it distractions.
Okay.
I call this distractions. So it's easy to go down that rabbit hole with distractions with the Facebook and the social media and the Instagram and this, that, and the other, and the comparisons. And I don't look like this, and I want to look like the famous celebrities and all that stuff. All these comparisons that we have, we make, women have to look like this, and, men have to look like that. And we're supposed to have this kind of look, or, it's just these unbelievable pressures that we put on it, that we allow to influence this quality of life that we have. It's not good. It's not healthy.
So in your work, your life's work, it's really like a mission for you. You
Mhm.
have, have found a way to help people find themselves.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
I must say, you are very happy in it. When I think about the work that you did when you were working for corporate America and how you looked then, and the kind of vibes that you gave off, you were under a lot of pressure. It was very stressful.
Yes.
Um, but this really seems to suit you beautifully. Um,
I love this. This is the best thing that ever happened to me. And
mm,
remember I said at the beginning about lessons learned, or maybe I didn't. I think I mentioned that
you
when I was
did,
going through
yes.
my journey of challenging of pain and
Mhm,
fear and anxiety. I knew there was a lesson in this. And that's why I said this is the good that came out of that experience.
mhm,
It wasn't pleasant. I questioned why. I didn't feel like I was a victim. I just wanted to know why was I going down this path. I never felt like I was a victim, but I got frustrated at times, and there was some fear there and some anger. But I said, I know this is going to serve a greater good. I just kept thinking that it's going to serve a greater good. I knew that, just didn't know what way. I had no idea. But because of you taking me to the Feldenkrais practitioner, which allowed me to be enrolled in the program, which allowed me to become a practitioner myself, has allowed me to serve people on the level that I really feel I'm closely engaged with.
mhm,
And I know we need it. We need
mhm,
this so much. And it's not just always about helping someone through pain, it's helping people that have, as I mentioned, anxiety and stress, and which can aid you, which brings about unclear thinking when you're under so much stress and you're like
mhm,
brain fog. I've heard people say, I have brain fog, and oh, I don't know how to relax. I don't know where I can have a place where I feel comfortable and I can just kind of just have a place of tranquility. I like to have that, let people know there's a place of tranquility. I can help you find that place. And by giving them the functional integration sessions or even a class, when I resume teaching classes again,
mhm,
people often find that they can find that place of tranquility and balance and peace of mind.
mhm.
Because sometimes we just need to make that time for ourselves. Because I know we're busy, got to get this done, got to get that done. Well, this needs to be part of that too. Again,
Mm.
it's taking care of yourself so that you can still go out and do your things, whatever you need to do, but you still need to take care of you. Number one.
Well,
And
like I
sometimes you can do even more things, do them better, whatever way you think it's better. You'll have the energy, you'll have the peace of mind that you're looking for. You'll feel less stressed, and you're taking care of yourself. You're actually taking care of you. You can control that. We can control that.
and I've had those sessions with you, and I can say from personal experience when we've concluded one of your classes,
Mhm.
um, it's almost as if I have stepped into another physical body. And
Mhm.
it, for me, it's very much like the body I had when I was a child.
Okay.
When we are children and we have figured out how we're going to operate the various parts, our legs and arms, you see infants flailing around, that's really not random movement. They are really
No,
experimenting on what works and what do I need to do in order to roll over, to sit up, to stand up, to
correct,
walk, to run.
correct. It
But
takes
say
you
you're
there.
around 5 or 6 years old and you see little kids just running every place and they're
Sure.
jumping and leaping,
Yes,
there's such freedom with that.
that's
And that's
true.
because the coordination, the nervous system hasn't been impacted with messages like, you're not supposed to do this, that, and the other because you're a girl, you're a boy, you're too short, you're too tall, you're too fat, you're too thin, you're too. None of
All
that
those
has
things.
impacted you yet. You're just being in your body.
Being
And
in your
that's
body.
how I feel when we finish one of your sessions. Like I'm like I need to get out and run, that I can run,
Mhm.
athletic activity never held much call for me. I've just never really been interested in it.
Mhm.
But I feel I'm capable, and it's having
Yes.
that freedom, having that ability to, move the joints
Mhm.
and not have to strategize how to
That's
get
true.
from point A to point B,
Oh,
just to
that's
be
true.
fluid. It's
That's
really
true.
wonderful.
It
This
does.
is not a shameless advertisement. This is just literally what I've experienced.
Thank you.
So I want to thank you for that.
Pleasure.
Years ago when you were having all that back pain and you were
Mhm.
on the walker, who could have ever predicted that you would come out of it the way
Mhm.
that you have and then have the skill set to be able to assist other people through their journeys through
Correct.
pain.
That's
So
true. That's true.
you're right.
It's
It's definitely a
happened.
lesson, and you were listening.
I was listening. I listened to that still small voice. It said,
Mm.
sit down and be quiet and listen to me. I said, all right, I guess I will now. And
Yeah.
I did, but it's the best thing that ever happened to me.
Mm.
In spite of all that was it was draining. It was an emotional journey for me. And I just felt lost. I said, but no, there's a lesson. I've got to open and listen and be aware, be open to the answer. Don't fight it.
Wow.
Just be open to the answer. Because remember, when you told me about Felon Christ, I said, yeah, right. Remember, I kind of looked at you, kind of like probably rolled my eyes. I said, well, all right.
No, you were
I'll
desperate
go.
at that point because you had tried everything else.
I was
But
desperate. I still said, well, okay. I'm if you because you told me what it was gonna do. And I said, are you sure about that? I had my doubts. I
mhm.
said, yeah, I tried everything. I said, okay, I'll just try this too. The best thing.
Well, it was so difficult watching you go through all of that distress.
Yeah.
I'm just glad that you finally did get to the point where you said, well, okay, I will try it. And it did
Yes,
work.
it's
And it's
it
very
still does.
legitimate. It's a valid strategy. It's a tool.
It's a wonderful tool,
It's a wonderful
a
tool.
wellness tool. It's all about wellness.
So,
So
what are your plans? Where are you going to go from here?
well, I still want to continue to work with people. I know since we're more people are being vaccinated now for COVID. I'm still very mindful. I don't take a whole bunch of people at one time and say, okay, let's come on in. I'm still very selective. I don't take more than maybe 2 or 3 people, work with them at a time because I want to be, mindful of them and want them to
Are
feel
you carding your clients to see if they've had their
carding them.
vaccine?
We also ask the questions. Have they been exposed to anybody around COVID? We take, temperature check. After we use it, the thermometer, the infrared thermometer. We use the touchless thermometer. We have I think it's the oxygenator. I may be pronouncing it incorrect. Where we measure someone's oxygen, make sure they have enough
They put it
oxygen.
on your
Put
finger
it on
to
the
see.
finger. Yes, exactly. So and of course, the place where I'm practicing in disinfects religiously. So
Mhm.
disinfect before, after a session.
Mhm.
Make sure there's always at least 30 minutes between clients, at least 30
Mhm.
minutes. I don't have people coming in right after the other. Don't do that.
Okay. Okay.
So and everyone wears a mask. I wear the mask. We still wear masks. Even though I'm fully vaccinated, I make sure that I am masked. And so we take every precaution to make sure everyone is safe.
Mhm.
And I still want to be there, available for people who are looking for help. So that is more of my mission this year, because last year was a little bit more difficult. But since there are people who are still looking for, I would say, of a more holistic, organic way of helping themselves to get back on their wellness journey, because we were lost last year. We had to stop everything.
Mhm.
But it's people are I'm getting some phone calls, and I like to be there for whoever needs me. So
Okay.
I'm
And so
still,
how will people get in contact with you? You have a link of some sort that I can attach to.
well, I will give them my email address, and
Okay.
of course my cell number. They can always call me, or texting me would probably be better.
Okay. Well, just for
The-
now, can you say what your number is?
Certainly. My cell number is 443-794-0405. And I
Okay.
would ask you to please text me first, because I may be working with someone. I don't want my phone ringing. It's better to text me. I would appreciate that. And my email address is wellness, that's WELLNESS with the digit 1, SSC, like Sam Charlie, at gmail.com. So it should be wellness. Goodness, now that I think about it, wellness
Wellness one.
SSC
Start
at
over. Start over.
gmail.com. All right, sorry about that. Did that come out correctly or not?
Yes, you did, but it's jumbled. So one more
Okay,
time.
one more time. Okay, wellness one SSC at gmail.com. That's the best way of getting me through Gmail.
Okay.
So So
Oh, I want to thank you, Sheila, for taking time to speak today on my little program here, Just Folks Conversations with Emma. I'm really honored that you would do that. You are my dearest and closest friend, aside from being my sister. And I'm really grateful that you said yes to being my sister, and that our parents did not return you to the baby store in exchange for a
thank
brother.
you. I do appreciate that too, but I couldn't see it any other way. Like I said, you were the best sister for me ever. Just period. That's just it.
Well,
I
I feel exactly
that's
the
just
same
it.
about you. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly the same
true.
about you. We've
Okay.
been through quite a few storms and some sunny days together,
Yes,
and
we have. Which I'm
looking
grateful
forward
for.
for more sunny days ahead.
Oh, yes, and more lessons to learn,
Mhm.
but they'll be good ones. They're all good.
Always,
Every single one of them.
always.
They're always
Mhm.
very good. So I thank you for the opportunity, and I love you, Emma. You're wonderful. You're my
Oh,
big
I
sister.
love you back. I love
No,
you more. How's
no.
that?
All right. Okay. I hear you.
Okay.
So,
All
well,
right.
thank you again for everything. And listen, you have a wonderful day, wonderful evening, wonderful week. Just enjoy.
I
Okay.
will. And you
And
too.
be well. And be well.
I will. You be well too, Sheila.
All right. Thank you.
See you soon.
See you. Bye.
Bye.